welcome Dr. Ani Margaryan. You will be amazed. You probably saw her bio because we did some good marketing there. She is on our website and in our marketing social media platforms. So Dr. Ani Margaryan, how did we find her? Through ASOF, which is the Armenian Society of Fellows, more than close to 400 scholars, historians, physics, and all kinds of like very top profile professors and scholars are part of that group. By the way, they are meeting again in Armenia, this time in Armenia, one more time in Armenia. They started from St. Lazarus in Italy, where the foundation of our scholars and the school is there, Margaryan's. I found her through the Armenian Society of Fellows, a distinguished art historian, and guess what? Silk Road scholar. How relevant that could be as our keynote speaker. She's based in China. She's art historian, Soochow University, Diaspora Youth Ambassador in China, member of the Armenian Society of Fellows, and she is a leading expert in Sino-Armenian cross-cultural heritage and diaspora networks. She's just born and grew into this role for us. I'm just gonna say, not only welcome, we're just gonna hug you with this through this distance.
I'm hugging back. Thank you very much, dear Emma.
Yes, and the topic we wanted you to cover is how Armenian Silk Road merchants shaped modern world of today's trade. Phenomenal. So we're not just saying it, we're just not referring to it. We know it, and here is Ani, Dr. Ani Margaryan. Please spread that light, more light from your foundation as a historian. How did we do that and what we can do today? Thank you.
Thank you, dear Emma. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I'm Ani, and I'm very pleased and honored to be a part of this very important event. Let me save your time and share my screen immediately.
Oh, let me allow you to do that.
Okay.
Nanosecond. Done. Go ahead.
So, before moving to the body of the presentation, I'd like to highlight why the theme is relevant and essential both globally and for us Armenians. Despite lacking political independence, Armenian merchants leveraged trade to gain economic influence, diplomatic knowledge, and cultural capital, advancing Armenian interests abroad. Their networks facilitated communication between distant Armenian communities, preserving identity while engaging with global markets. Wealthy merchants funded schools, printing houses, and churches, promoting literacy and intellectual growth in diaspora communities, sponsoring the establishment of the Armenian printing presses in Venice, Amsterdam, and New Julfa. They demonstrated how commercial success could drive cultural and educational progress through sustained patronage of learning institutions. The mercantile class played a crucial role in shaping Armenian diasporic identity, connecting communities across Persia, India, Europe, and beyond. Their history reflects the broader Armenian experience of adaptation, resilience, and negotiation of dual identity, local and global. Armenian merchants bridged Asia, Europe, and later the Americas, which is why we say they bridged East and West. And they facilitated exchange of goods, silk, gems, porcelain, ideas, and technologies. Their cosmopolitan approach, respectful engagement with diverse cultures, offers a model for modern cross-cultural trade. They held a privileged role in Silk Road trade, particularly in China, where they acted as intermediaries. Their thoughtful use of economic position as soft power balanced commercial interests with cultural preservation. The lifestyle, artistic expressions, and architectural designs in mercantile communities integrate Eastern and Western influences while preserving a distinct Armenian identity. This demonstrates their capacity for adaptation without assimilation, resulting in a distinctive aesthetic that brings new motifs and art forms into Armenian culture. They quickly adopted new technologies, printing, banking, and market trends. For example, the fashionable trend of the time, pearl, diamond, tea, porcelain trade. As skilled negotiators, they navigated political shifts between Safavid, Mughal, and European powers to sustain networks. Merchants were active patrons and commissioners of hybrid artworks. They pushed boundaries of art patronage by fostering objects that blended Islamic, Asian, European, and Armenian aesthetics. Commissioned artworks by merchants consistently featured Armenian inscriptions, which is very important for us. This practice preserved language while asserting cultural presence in foreign lands. Their model of trust-based networks remains relevant that demonstrated how economic cohesion and cultural patronage could compensate for the lack of statehood. The Armenian mercantile class served far more than traders. They were vital agents of cross-cultural exchange, transmitting ideas, innovations, and diplomatic ties across Eurasia. Historian Philip Curtin emphasized their unique role in cross-cultural trade in world history publication, documenting their 2nd century BC control of Silk Road routes from China to the Mediterranean and their later adaptability as Christian intermediaries in Muslim lands. Let's do a very quick historical review. The Julfan merchants developed one of the most far-reaching trade networks of the early modern era, connecting Persia with markets across Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. In Europe, they established key commercial hubs in Venice, Livorno, Amsterdam, and Marseille, where they traded Persian silk and other luxury goods. Their networks extended into Russia, Moscow, Astrakhan, where they played a crucial role in the silk and textile trade. In South Asia, they maintained strong commercial ties with Mughal India, operating in major trading centers such as Surat, Agra, and Bengal. Some Julfa merchants even reached Southeast Asia, conducting business in Manila and Batavia. Within the Ottoman Empire, they were active in Constantinople, Aleppo, and Smyrna, while in the Persian Gulf and Indian Ocean, they traded in strategic ports such as Basra, Hormuz, and Bandar Abbas. Well, given our established understanding of the Armenian mercantile class's economic and cultural influence, their role in advancing connectivity and modernity for expanded trade networks, we must confront a fundamental question. Where are their visual representations? As an art historian, I operate on the foundational principle that powerful social groups invariably appear in visual media, whether as documentary records, artistic impressions, or objects of fascination and curiosity. In art history, we have a term, subject matter. Subject matter in art refers to the content, theme, or narrative a work of art depicts. Let's see whether Armenian merchants became the subject matter in the arts. Oh yes, they did. For my research, I have identified approximately 100 portrayals of Armenian merchants in Western art across diverse media, including engravings, oil paintings, and sculptures spanning various genres such as general representations, book illustrations, and individual portraits. Significantly, many of these works are explicitly labeled in European languages. For example, English, Dutch, French, German, Italian, with inscriptions like Armenian merchant, Armeno mercante, while others specify individuals by name, such as Philippe Armenian or Arotin George. A substantial portion of these depictions are linked to the Dutch East India Company, British East India Company, or highlight Armenian merchants' role in mediating trade between Europe and Asia. Stylistically, these portrayals uniformly present the Armenian mercantile class as dignified and self-assured, adorned in contemporary luxury attire that reflects their economic stature and cosmopolitan identity. This portrait, on the left, executed by renowned miniaturist John Smart during his decade in Madras, depicts Edward Raphael, a pivotal figure in the 18th century global commerce. Raphael embodied the Armenian mercantile elite's transnational reach, founding the Carnatic Bank in Madras while trading cotton, silk, spices, and opium across India, China, and Southeast Asia. His commercial empire relied on Armenian intermediaries, such as Samuel Murat in Canton, Guangzhou, and Joseph Ter Astvatsatur in Calcutta, exemplifying the diaspora's role in bridging European and Asian markets. Raphael, together with his son-in-law, the prominent diamond merchant Samuel Murat, founded the Armenian college Murat Raphael in Venice. Both men, recognized for their Enlightenment ideals and close association with the Mkhitarist scholarly order, established the institution to provide exceptional education for young Armenians in Europe. Interestingly, the sartorial distinctive feature of Armenian merchants made them instantly recognizable across Europe, with many adopting elements or even the complete ensemble of traditional Armenian mercantile attire. This cultural visibility extended beyond trade circles. Jean-Jacques Rousseau famously commissioned portraits wearing his favorite Armenian fur hat and trimmed jacket during his 1766 stay in London. Non-Western artistic traditions, including Persian, Ottoman, and Armenian diasporic representations, frequently portrayed merchants with symbolic attributes of economic power, enlightenment, and elite status. Armenians were also depicted in Tang Dynasty Sansai figurines. If this hypothesis is correct, it could represent one of the earliest artistic portrayals of Armenian merchants in global art history. The Sansai glazed figurines of wine merchants from the Tang Dynasty provide compelling evidence for Silk Road cultural exchanges, with scholarly sources supporting their identification as Armenian traders. In my upcoming article, I propose that these artifacts represent the general images of Armenian merchants. This hypothesis is strengthened by Armenia's well-documented history of Vedic culture, evidenced by the archaeological finds such as Areni I Cave Complex, the world's oldest known winery. The figurines' distinctive physiognomy, heavy beards, large eyes, and prominent noses aligns with late 19th century anthropological descriptions of Armenoid types. Despite their historical significance, much of the story of the Armenian mercantile class remains obscured by lost archives, dispersed communities, and inaccessible primary sources. Migration patterns, the decline of diasporic hubs, and fragmented records have left gaps in our understanding of their character, ambitions, and aesthetic sensibilities. Yet, their legacy persists through a revelatory lens, patronage, and ownership. So patronage and ownership, two interconnected terms in art history. Patronage denotes the sustained financial, material, or institutional support extended by individuals, groups, or governing bodies to artists, artisans, or cultural producers. Ownership in art refers to the legal possession and control of an artwork. Armenian merchant families actually commissioned artworks, particularly Chinese armorial porcelain, adorned with Armenian inscriptions and royal insignia tied to historic kingship traditions as evidenced by the Kalfayan collection. These luxury objects served dual purposes. While functioning as trade commodities, they simultaneously embodied political aspirations for nationhood through their incorporation of Armenian royal motifs and patriotic symbolism. The practice paralleled contemporary Chinese export porcelain customized for foreign markets, yet with a distinctive nationalist dimension. Merchants strategically employed material culture to assert Armenian sovereignty and cultural continuity. The comparative analysis visually and contextually illustrates the striking proximity between Chinese export porcelain for the American and Armenian markets, substantiating our hypothesis that Armenian patrons were directly inspired by porcelain forms and compositions intended for the American market, because both nations and countries at the time were in their pursuit of independence and building nationhood. So this slide represents the most notable commissions by Armenian merchants worldwide. So this is their very luxurious mansion in New Julfa, which is the fusion in terms of architecture and exterior and interior design of Western and Eastern influences and features. This is a rug which was commissioned by an Armenian merchant for the Polish royalty. This is a throne commissioned by a group of Armenian merchants for the Russian monarch, a Tsar, in order to get access to the Russian trade. They commissioned numerous manuscripts. This is a very interesting helmet with the Armenian inscription on it, commissioned by a merchant. They also commissioned their own portraits in variety of media. They commissioned administrative buildings. They even commissioned a coin in Amsterdam on the occasion of one of the merchant's daughter's wedding ceremony. We also have a series of intricately decorated brass and copper bowls, which demonstrate visually the influence from Islamic culture, but they all bear Armenian dedicatory inscriptions. They had their own belongings made of very precious, expensive materials of the time, like silver seals and purses made of hand-embroidered textiles. Dorsal curtains for the Armenian churches and monasteries worldwide. Printed production, printed maps, printed books. And finally, an astrolabe, which was very fashionable and was regarded as a new innovative technology of the time. It was a device which helped Armenian merchants to navigate during their maritime trade. So in 2024, here in China, we have undertaken an ambitious academic project to reconstruct the authentic image of the Armenian merchant through costume revival. This interdisciplinary initiative unfolded in two critical phases. First, a scholarly investigation, and second, a creative collaboration with art historians, designers, and ethnographers. Our reconstruction draws on rare primary sources, including mid-20th century costume sketches, European engravings and prints, and an exceptionally well-preserved 17th century merchant ensemble housed in the United States. This project not only advances Silk Road studies, but also sheds light on the nuanced history of Asian Armenian, Persian Armenian, and European Armenian commercial and cultural ties. And the costume was showcased in a during the very important event in China, in Qingdao, and was welcomed by Chinese authorities and audiences. In conclusion, I want to highlight how artificial intelligence captures the image of Julfan Armenian merchants, embodying their cosmopolitan spirit and pursuit of modernity. Their attire skillfully blends Western and Eastern motifs, featuring intricate patterns and vibrant colors. The surroundings further emphasize their global connections. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I'm finished.
Thank you, Annie.
Thank
These are
you.
the insights, and these are the artifacts that we absolutely are looking for. Thank you so much for your insightful.
The pleasure is mine.
And yeah, insightful. It's just amazing that we have so much to demonstrate and we have so much to offer in the nowadays, the design, the fashion, the technology. So we actually have on our website, there is a special section, it's called Shop. And you go and meet with all these new companies that are, without knowing, we are actually continuing the same style. Everything is in high quality, very creative, and it's a global use. Thank you so much, Ani. More to come. We're gonna showcase this presentation. We're gonna have more of these speeches coming for other events. We're gonna have this type of events every year, maybe multiple ones. So thank you, Ani. And welcome to Digital Julfa with all of your
Thank you very much.
insightful research you've done. Thank you.